Hey, it's Eric Crawford from WDRB Sports. Just want to do a little rapid reaction from Neyland Stadium here in Knoxville, where Tennessee just blasted Kentucky 44-6. And my first impression is that, college football has gone the way of the NFL in that you got to score. You've got to have a guy under center who can make a lot of plays. The more dynamic, the better quarterback usually wins. And you've got to have an offense capable of being multiple, having threats in the running game and the passing game. And we thought that's what Kentucky was going to have this season with Will Levis and some good young receivers and Chris Rodriguez when he got into the lineup and got going. What Kentucky doesn't have offensively is a whole lot of creativity. And when they get behind in a game like they did against Tennessee, which scored on its third play from scrimmage and was up 13-6 pretty quickly, there wasn't a lot that they could do to match the firepower that Tennessee brought in here. Tennessee just had too much octane. Hendon Hooker, this was going to be a matchup of top-level national quarterbacks. People are saying Will Levis could be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft next year, and Hendon Hooker is a Heisman candidate. Well, the matchup really didn't materialize very much. Hooker was 19-25 for 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. Levis just 16-27 for 98 yards. 98 yards passing is not going to beat any good SEC team. You cannot. The days of having a good defense and being able to run the ball and impose your will like that are gone. And Kentucky can't aspire to those. They need to get more creative. They need to find their receivers in space. They need to hit backs out of the backfield. They need a quick passing game. They need a lot of things offensively because they barely top the 200-yard mark. Yeah, it's a good Tennessee team, but Kentucky made them look even better than they are, and the reaction isn't what you thought it might be.
Predictable pass is not a good situation for us, as you know. We've been struggling with it. We're trying to protect at times, but, really, it wasn't just protection. We didn't run it effectively enough. We weren't good on play-action game. We weren't good in the screen game. We weren't good in any area. When you put up, you have no chance to beat Tennessee if you have 200 yards, of offense and not enough first downs. Well, obviously, when you're playing them, yes, you got to possess the ball and score. And I say possess the ball, but that's who we are anyway. You know what I mean? That's just, it's not like a different strategy. We're methodical. We're a huddle team. We need to do what we do, and that's trying to run the ball and be efficient and play action game and keep them off balance and then score. I think early, when we had some long drives again, the not capitalizing, not keeping pace with them, it can get away from you quickly.
I think one of the things that stings about this loss for Kentucky is that, Tennessee, to me, is having the season that Kentucky thought it would have. Kentucky 4 weeks ago was number 7 in the country, and they were 4-0 and getting ready to launch into SEC play. We were going to see how they were going to do. And from then on, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. They hit the good teams, and they have not played well. I don't know what to say about Kentucky at this point. They're going to have the same season, basically, that they've had over the last several, probably not as good. We're penciling them in at 8-4, and that's assuming they can beat a Louisville team that's all of a sudden resurgent. I think that, the danger when you get a situation like this where your expectations were so high and then you fall short and then you start losing some games is that there's a huge letdown. And that's what Kentucky's got to guard against as they go to Missouri. They've got to find some motivation from somewhere. They've got to pick themselves back up. But this kind of loss is tough to pick yourself back up from, 44-6. Meanwhile, Tennessee, let's stop and say some stuff about Tennessee. They have it going. And Tennessee's a national name in football. They haven't been good for a long time, 15 years or more, but they're a national name. And when they get it going, they have instant national credibility. They have the star power, the Peyton Mannings and all the great names here. They have the tradition here, and they have this crowd, 100,000 at Neyland Stadium. This place was electric, and this is their, 5th, 6th straight sellout here, maybe more here in this stadium. People are excited about this team, and they should be. Heupel coaches an exciting brand of football. This team runs at a rapid pace. They're hard to keep up with, and it's an intelligent, creative offensive scheme. It's going to be fun to watch when Tennessee and Georgia hook up, and we'll see what happens. Probably one of the most watched college football games of the season. For Kentucky, they got to find some answers. And I wrote in a column at WDRB.com, they kind of need to go back to the drawing board, and they do. They need to find some offense, find a little bit more in terms of creativity. How do you use this guy? If Will Levis is going to be a first-round draft pick at quarterback, you got to find a way to leverage him and use him. And they certainly have an All-American at running back in Chris Rodriguez, although he wasn't tonight. 15 carries, 64 yards. Didn't get much of a chance in a game that got away from Kentucky pretty quickly. So not anything much right. Special teams, they had a special teams error on a punt that gave Tennessee good field position. Just a lot of things go wrong for Kentucky. They got to get it back together quickly to salvage something of a season that everybody anticipated. A lot of people are picking Kentucky to win 10 games. That's not going to happen. Now they need to make the most of it and still finish on a good note. We'll see if they can in the coming weeks. As I said, got a column at WDRB.com, lots of pictures there too, and certainly more video and discussions of this coming as we move forward into next week. From Knoxville and Neyland Stadium, I'm Eric Crawford for WDRB Sports.